You took a picture recently with some friends. Friends named Breck Bassinger, Jeff Johns.
I did.
Wade.
May have.
Yeah. What? Any?
What's going on with that?
Yeah.
I don't really remember, frankly.
Okay.
Amnesia. I think publicity amnesia hit.
Blackout.
Yeah. Breck has her own PR going on. I'm gonna let her handle that. We don't want to build any false expectation, any false hope.
Right.
We don't want to let people down. What does occur and happen in terms of any sort of intermingling is it's fun, and that's all I can say. So, yeah, I'm sorry. A little underwhelming.
For fun.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I had a hand in that. Whatever that is, you guys feel free to read between the lines and fill that in on your own.
Well, just a general one. What can you tease about what's coming ahead this season for Gar?
It's been 3 seasons of trauma for Gar, and this season is diving into mental health. It's diving into using pain as the fuel for self-growth, self-discovery. His powers evolve in ways we haven't seen on the show quite drastically and quickly. There is a force that kind of pervades through DC that Gar will be maybe communing with, being communed with, which helps to kind of bring him back into his primal self. Inform his ability to be greater and more than he ever has been with his limiting self-belief and self-created narratives that keep him in a bit of a Stockholm syndrome from previous family dynamics and being the caregiver and the almost the service worker of the group. He takes a step back to kind of reevaluate what he needs, and when he does that, the level of growth that comes out of this character this season is, I said it already, but it's payoff. It's payoff. Fans have been wanting something of this for a while and for him for a while, and I think this is the season that I think people will be pleasantly surprised.
What's it been like playing that?
It's been phenomenal. I mean, I think post-pandemic, I think one of the major topics that humanity as a whole should be discussing is mental health and how we evolve consciousness and what comes from the deep work, what comes from self-inquiry, what comes from trying to expand past preconceived notions about oneself, not just of others, but what you limited yourself to. And that, I mean, it's the plot and the character are so entwined at that point because his whole thing is he can evolve and he can change. We wanted to still tell the human story of Garfield Logan and all the trauma that pre-exists this season, or predates this season. He comes into his own in a way where he's been smiling, he's been laughing through the pain, but now it's entirely different. He can accept the pain, he can heal the pain, he can acknowledge that that's valid without putting too much stake into it, without that becoming who he is, without that being the motivating factor of why he wants to help or why he is the way he is. There's an opportunity to grow outside of the past.
In the comics, Brother Blood has a deep connection with Beast Boy.
Sure.
Are we going to get some of that mingling this season and tapping into the red and all that?
So Brother Blood and Beast Boy do not have many scenes with one another.
Okay.
For good reason.
Okay.
Joseph Morgan, his entire, I think, purpose is not only to be a phenomenal human being, a phenomenal performer, but is to drive the stakes of the show higher. My goal is to always drive the stakes of the show lower. I am trying to bring everyone back to a laugh, a chuckle, a heartfelt moment, and you can't really have that when people's faces are being torn off and people are bleeding from their eyes, and it's just I don't think it was intentional, but it worked out the way it needed to. So there wasn't too much intermingling and crossplay between the two. There is a little bit of intermingling when Joseph Morgan is still Sebastian Sanger, and that's an interesting storyline that you guys will see early on.
Cool.
And
Thanks, man.
So for a lot of this series, Beast Boy and Gar has been the guy in the chair, like kind of piloting everything. Are we going to see you more in the field this season?
Yeah, you mean tech support? So that there's always a little bit of that to some degree, but yeah, Gar, Beast Boy, they are in the field in maybe a little bit too far out of the field. Yeah, no, it's not even. He's not even in the same playing field at times, so that might give you some insight as to where his journey takes him.
Time for one more question.
So now that he is kind of being his genuine self, who is he this season?
Who is he? He's the embodiment of compassion. He's the friend that you call when you're having a hard day. He's the guy that'll give you a hug if you're having a cry. He's the one that'll laugh off a hard day at work. He's just unfolding this season in a way that I've had just the most fun playing him, and it reminds me a lot of kind of Greg Sipes' mentality and approach to the character, and even what they were able to do in Young Justice this season with his therapy and bringing in an animal companion. I don't have a wingman, a Guruji of my own, but the idea that we all have something to work on, being the underlying story for Gar is it's a beautiful cause to champion, and I almost want to put at the end of an episode, like, if you're struggling with your mental health, visit this website. That's almost what it feels like he's bringing to each episode. So it's been an absolute honor.